All right. Welcome to Beyond Business. Today, joining me is author, speaker, and business leader with over 37 years' experience in marketing and sales. He has been guiding clients through highly effective and result oriented marketing campaigns for years. And we're going to get him to shed a little bit of that advice to some of these kids and some of these veterans in the game. Welcome and thank you for joining me, Mr. Neil Rogers. Thanks very much for joining me on Beyond Business.
Hey Nick, what's happening? How are you, my friend?
I am good. I am good. How are you?
Never better.
All right. All right. So, our audience here on my end of the spectrum, we have a lot of people who, let's just say, some successful business people, a lot still out there with the curiosity. And what we've dug into a lot is trying to kind of educate people who are on their way, right? I tend to think that being able to look someone in the eye, shake their hand, have a conversation is something that is forever going to be an art that is required and necessary. And you'll never be able to get away from, or you'll never be able to hide behind a computer and a keyboard on certain aspects. And I know you're someone who, you're a people person. From what I know about you is you definitely know about the importance of interaction when it comes to developing relationships in business and whatnot. So I would love to hear your take just on, I mean, you've seen the shift of things going from the cold call industry all the way up to now to where I don't even know if cold calling exists because there's so much robocalling. So I guess how does the transpiring of dealing, I guess, advising younger people today on, yeah, there is still a very good importance to being able to be personable and developing I guess, stick in your, when you're training and when you're learning. You know, you can email and touch base with as many people as you would like to digitally, but to be able to walk into a room and command a little bit of attention is still very valuable.
Oh, you are preaching to the choir, as they say.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's so important, and it's those people that I meet. And I meet them, whether I meet them at the gym or wherever, at a counter in a breakfast shop or having a drink at a bar or whatnot. You just know when they can make a connection. When I'm talking about young people, I love hanging with young people. I mean, I've got you met Cam, you probably talked to Cam. That's my boy.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old. I love going. We're going down. We'll go down to see him in DC. We want to. I want his buddies, and I want to hang out with him. And I can pick the ones, and he's got some great friends. And the ones that impress me the most are those people that can carry on a conversation, that can remember a name, that can ask a probing question, can show interest. Um, every darn one of them needs to read Dale Carnegie. They need to read. They need to look at these things that have gone on in the past, because Jim Rohn says it best, I think, in that success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying the basic fundamentals.
Repetition, man. Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and we have a special needs son. He's a 34-year-old man with autism, and we were looking for someone to work with him on weekends. Right? Just go out, take him to the gym, hikes and whatnot. He doesn't live with us. He lives with another group, but
Right.
we still facilitate, a lot of the stuff that goes on with him. And so I met this guy at a Pilates studio in the locker room, young guy, just talking. And he said, "Hey, what's your name?" He goes, "Kyle." I said, "Kyle, I'm Neil. Nice to see you." Yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Call it 2 weeks or a week. I don't know what the span of time was. I ran into him again in the locker room and he goes, "Hey, Neil, how are you?" And I went, what do we have here? Right?
Someone that remembered a name.
Someone that remembered my name. And I'm 66 years old. I'm insignificant to this 34-year-old guy in the real, in the big scheme of things, at least so. So, anyways, a couple of weeks ago, I know. So I asked him a question. I said, Kyle, what is it you do? He says, I'm training to be an MMA fighter. Now that's kids carved from stone, right? I said, that's
Right.
great, super. I said, how do you sustain yourself? He said, I drive Uber. I said, cool. I love a hustler. Way to go, pal. So fast forward a couple of weeks, or whatever. Again, I don't really know what the span of time is. And I said to him before the class, I said, hey, Kyle, I don't want to put this on you. So you can tell me anytime, and no is an acceptable answer. But how's Uber driving on Saturday and Sunday afternoons? He goes, kind of slow. I said, okay. Would you have any interest in taking my 34-year-old son with autism to the gym and on hikes and hang out with him? Don't have to tell me now. Let's work out and whatnot. So he comes back and he says, you know what, Neil? I'd like to give that a try. He's been with him every weekend for the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. So when you get that quality, when you find that, just that little something that shows that you're not sticking your head in the phone the whole time, and you're not looking beyond the person in front of you, and you're not distracted, and it's just like, it just sets you apart in this day and age. You can't hide behind a computer screen. If you're going to be in the people, if you're going to go out and sell or business develop or be out in the field or run a business or start a small business, you're going to have to carry on a conversation. And there's many ways to practice it.
Right.
Many ways. But I would advise, well, I mean, again, I'd like everybody to read my book, but if once they've done that, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It just is a must read.
Well, and I think so. Yeah, bar tips, which is everything I needed to know in sales. I learned from behind a bar. I mean, I'm coming up on 50, so, and I think socializing in person is kind of a lost thing too. I mean, I don't really know, but I don't know if when I was in my 20s, 30s, I mean, after work, you didn't have to be a drunk to stop by the watering hole to catch up, shake hands with a few people, have a cocktail, and that I think might even be kind of lost now. So whenever I seen the name of your book, I was like, oh, that's right on the money. You know what I mean? You probably got to learn a whole lot from a lot of interesting people just by being a fly on the wall and the guy serving the people who serve everyone, basically from all walks of life. But so what's interesting, though, is about the skill that you're saying that the gentleman that now is friends with it sounds like not only a help caretaker, but has also become a friend to your son and to your family. That's not something, a lot of things I even look at is we're gifted. You probably, what you have and the abilities that you have is a gift. You found it, you were given it, you're utilizing it, you're running with it. The ability to step outside the box and become a people person as a young man, woman, and to keep that moving forward, that's something you can develop and you can master and you can, you know what I mean? It's like you can. And it's a very, very valuable, it doesn't require a lot of book education, but to be a people person is really one of the most valuable qualities. Now, there's a whole lot that goes in behind the scenes, as you and I both know. You can talk the talk, and then whenever you go back, somebody has to get on the computer, do a shit ton of work to make things operate. I get that. We all get that. But the value that comes in going, I'm going to make myself comfortable with talking to people who basically seal my fate at the end of the day. I mean, I think that's it. So what made you? Have you always been someone? I guess, it used to be almost an insult when someone would go, "Oh man, this guy's just a salesman." Now it's like, "Oh, that's the quality you look for in someone."
Oh, well, so I always find this misnomer of like, oh, you can sell ice to the Eskimos.
Yeah. Or he's
No,
a car salesman. It's like,
yeah, that's to me, that's not what it's about.
no.
To me, it's about, that you meet somebody, you number one, you have to determine if you're who can buy what you sell,
Right.
right? You have to determine that. Then you need to be able to deliver it, an old hackneyed elevator pitch, right? You need to be able to say, here's what I do, without boring
Right.
anybody to tears in at a cocktail party or at a speaking event or a charity event or a chamber event, whatever it is, and then recognize if they are saying, well, geez, you know what? I'd like to hear more about that. Well, you
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to put it on them right there, right? You want to live to play another day. So the whole notion is to get, now you take it back, you make a mental note, you write it down, you put it in your phone. I mean, this is now I've got lists of people that I meet and whatnot in here. I live in a golf community here in New Hampshire. And everybody I meet, I just put it in there, put some identifier. I'm not looking to sell them. I'm just looking to, when I see them again, practice my craft and say, you're Jim and Annie. Oh yeah, you have the oh, you live on Green Heron.
Oh, yeah.
You like the pizza here. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, you
And
got the daughter who goes to school and blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. And
who's
you,
this
yeah,
guy?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And nobody bats 1,000. So if your listeners are out there thinking like you're going to remember, unless you've got an
Right.
incredible memory, you just want some clues to get back in there to be able to have the conversation. Now, so when you now identify, so now if you have this conversation with them, and I've now sold a few people up on campus here, on what my primary business is the swag business, and well, I work for Orkin, and there's all sorts of. I said, well, let's chat. I mean, I'm not like putting it on them.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation. Now, when I go into the conversation, because I've identified this guy can buy what I sell. I like him.
And they
I
already
think,
like you.
I think he likes me. And then I start. So here I've got swag bags, swag boxes, and I've got my book. Well, guess what was on his doorstep the next morning? The swag box and the book.
Yeah. A little
Signed
care
copy,
package. Yeah.
right? And it wasn't like, and again, it's not disingenuous. I want him to read my book. I want him to tell about it. I want to get on more podcasts. I want to do more speaking with it. So I might be able to speak for them. Maybe they'll buy some promotional items for me. So I'm working,
Right.
right? And so anyway, so that's just it. It's like, but in order to have that conversation with Joe and Angie, who are from Florida, you see where we're going here? Who moved up
Right.
here because he took a region up here for Orkin. He's renting, so he's not going to be here forever. Bob, so you get it all right. Now it's like I'm putting it all in
Yeah.
my head. I even know who they're buying from now, and I've got angles on how I might be able to do it better for them because I don't want to just God's honest truth. Yeah, I'm not going to undercut anybody or for the sake of garnering business. I don't believe that's
Right.
the best thing to do. But if I can provide value and do something for them, which 9 times out of 10 I can, because
Right.
just the way we operate and the way that we serve people, I'll do it. Right. So anyway, so now we've got this, but in order to take a step back to your audience here, and if you're not adept at this, you do want to be out in the public, you do want to sell, you do want a business development develop for your small business. Well, go to a bar, go to a counter. And if you're uncomfortable in bars, go to a lunch counter or just be anywhere and sit with the people. Try to sit with people and look for an opportunity to engage. Let's not interrupt. Let's not be aggressive. Just launch some. Hey, where y'all from? Or have you had the roast beef sandwich here?
Oh, so you're saying that the world is your practice field anytime you want to use it.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. You
And
don't have to
so
be
then
pitching
you
anything.
now you ask a question. And what did Dale say? People want to talk about themselves.
This is
Let
true.
them. Let them.
That's how you learn.
Okay. Ask a question. Oh, do you live in the area? Great. Did you bring up a family here? Oh yeah. Where'd they go to school? Oh, great. Tell me more about that. Now shut up.
And let
2
it go.
ears, 1 mouth. We all know that hackneyed phrase. Use them in that proportion. Look, be interested. Be genuinely interested. You want to learn about this person. You want to make mental notes. Maybe they went to school with your child. Maybe you know a cousin. Maybe wherever the tie goes, you never know.
Right.
And so, I met this woman up at my local sandwich shop. She works for Kaseya.
Oh,
It's a huge company.
right.
You know, I was telling somehow I just go, you know, typically what will happen once it's lobbed back in my court, what is it you do? Well, I'm in the promotional marketing business. I'm also an author and I'm a speaker. I said, when I know all about promotional goods. I'm in marketing. Oh, great. Well, let me send you. Do you mind if I send you a kit? What's the answer?
Of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And if it's no, we're good.
Yeah. No
Tap
harm, no
out.
foul. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So anyways, back to the initial conversation though. Once you've asked that question and they're going, do you try with every fiber of your being to not interrupt them, do not talk over them, and please, please, please do not one better them. Oh, you got a story like that? Wait till you hear this one.
Okay.
Unless you declare, and I do this, listen, this is akin to what you were saying. I'm not one better at you. Just come
Okay.
clean. And Nick usually is a little chuckle about that because everybody knows somebody that does the OB.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, here it comes.
You're-
Oh, yeah. Wait till you hear this. I've done that. Oh, but I did this. Oh, okay, great. Why don't you
Right.
keep right?
Right.
And also, if that's the case, it's probably someone you don't want to do business with.
Right.
I mean, if you're young and aggressive and you need every slice of business, I'm not. I'm still aggressive, but I've got a mature business. You know,
Right.
I don't owe anybody anything. I put all my kids through school. I work with
Right.
who I want to work with. I work with people because it's fun. And yes, I know they can buy what I sell. I go through my own list, and I respect them. And I just fired off a note before I went to yoga this morning. I fired off a recap of a great meeting I had the other day yesterday with this guy that's got is involved with he does the marketing for 130 tire shop / service shop, and they do events, but they also have a corporate division where they call on corporate clients and whatnot. So it's right in the bailiwick. I can help him immeasurably, right?
Right.
Well, up to and including he wants me to interview the owner of the company and do an interview like we're doing right now. I said, yeah, let's do it, right? So, anyways, but yeah, so that's the key to that. The other simple thing everybody can do. Lord knows everybody's got a dog these days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know in this place there's 600 units all total. I bet 500 of them have dogs. Right?
Yeah.
So people are out what? They're walking. Everybody likes to get their steps in. When you go walking, say hello and greet everybody you see. Every last mother son of them. And guess what, gang? Somebody might have a bad day, not looking up. And you know, if they're not looking up and they're just like in their headphones and whatnot, you know, that says to me, I don't want to be bothered today. I don't want to be bothered at all.
Right.
Even like a cordial hello, right?
Right.
So, and then don't be upset because, and this is another thing I want to make sure everybody hears. Nobody bats 1,000 in this stuff, right? You're not going to bat 1,000. Somebody's going to have had a bad day. Maybe their dog is not in good shape today, or whatever it is. So don't. But this will cross lines into another book that I'm very high on. It's called The 4 Agreements. Have you heard of The 4 Agreements?
I haven't.
Okay, so the 4 agreements are these. Number 1, be impeccable with your words, meaning don't be disparaging of yourself or others.
Okay.
Don't get involved in gossip. As an example,
Ah. Yeah.
Don't take things personally. So in this case, as you're walking down the street and you say hello to somebody and they kind of like, rah, 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 you have no idea what's going on in their life. You have no idea how they woke up. The kid is sick. The dog is driving them. Whatever it is, move along.
Right.
It's not about you. It's about them. 3, don't make assumptions. Right? How many times have we made assumptions, made the wrong call, went down the negative path, only to find out there's nothing to do with that?
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah. And again, so when I give this in a talk, I don't want to give away all my secrets to everybody.
Sure.
But what I'll do is I'll start off with, okay, who believes himself to be a positive person? Oh, they raise their hands and whatnot. Right. Then I try to sneak around to the back of the room. I said, okay, I want everybody to close their eyes. I want you to answer think about these 4 questions. 1, do you ever engage in poor self-talk or poor talk about others? 2, do you ever take things personally, not considering the other party? See where I'm going here?
Yeah.
Have you ever made an assumption only to find out you were wrong and you went down that negative road and you were all worked up and all that? 4, I didn't give you the 4th one, but the fourth agreement is always do your best. Now, if you've answered the first 3 that not positively, but affirmatively, then has that ever affected your performance, either at home or on the job? And then I walk to the front of the room, I raise my hands, and I go, guilty on all charges.
Right.
I've done it. Right. I've done it after I've done it. I may do it right after I talk to you.
Yeah, about it. I know better, and I'm going to do it.
I catch myself now.
Yeah.
I catch myself, and I go, okay, hold on.
Check yourself.
Right. Okay. So why am I worried? We didn't get invited to that? Why do I care? Right. We don't know what's going on. Right.
Right.
So anyway, so yes. So again, that's the thing about just don't. If you're at that counter, you're at that bar, you're at a cocktail event or a chamber event or a charity event. You don't know what's going on.
Well, I think the really good point, you've actually said it a couple times now, is it's almost like when you say the thing to remember is you don't bat 1,000, and I think even more so, you don't even bat 500 a lot. You don't even bat 400 a lot. It's okay.
300, as they say, gets you in the Hall of Fame, right?
That's what I'm saying. So I think that's it too, is to be able to take it on the chin a lot that's a growing process. You know what I mean? If you don't get smacked around a little bit or you don't get told no, then there's no learning that goes along with it. And it seems to me like your approach is more like your repetition comes in possible connections and deals. And if it doesn't go your way, then that was just a rep. It was just practice. I mean,
that's the way I think about it all the time. That's what I'm thinking about it. Again, when you're a kid and you're just getting started, I was in the food business in and out of every kitchen in Boston and in the area. Why are these guys? But what I did was I wore them down with the stuff you read in the book.
Right. Okay.
I wear them down with professionalism, with good manners, with all the golden rule type stuff. I show up on time, which is what, everybody? 15 minutes early.
There you go.
Right? I am organized. When I show up, I know what I want to talk to them about. I know in the food business, I used to have all of the special. I forget what the number of items were. We would have booked this thick of items.
Okay.
But here's one for you. 17348. I have not sold this in 30. Been with that company for 37 years. 173484 is sugar packets. 028092 is number 14-ounce bottle ketchup.
Might have moved a few of them in your day, huh?
It's the big jars of mayo. Right. Then there was a guy I worked with. He had so many of it because he did it so long. He used to write them down. Now this is going to sound like ancient to all the kids that listen out there. Write it down in a Mead notebook, and then we used to have to key him in and put him on a phone to send them over the phone line by 2:00. You didn't get him in by 2:00. Your people were not getting their food the next day.
Oh yeah.
So organization, right?
Yeah.
Be organized, be ready to go. And then you know what you're talking about. So that's eventually I just wore them down. And simply they gave me $3,000 worth of business to work with in a week, which equates to like zero in commissions, right? And I'm
Right.
I'm making $100 a week and then commissions. Well, of course, I kept 2 nights on the bar.
Right.
And I made $600 a week on the bar. So I mean I could sustain myself and whatever. So but over time, within 18 months, using these simple practices, and by the way, this is not some get rich quick scheme, whatever. This is you do this stuff every day, plus or minus, whatever, obviously there's going to be things that go wrong and stuff that happens and kids that get sick or whatever it is. My prescription when I do a positive activity program is 90-day windows. You do this for 90 days, you won't believe where you came from.
Okay.
But you have to do the homework. You got to know the people that can buy what you sell, all those things we talked about earlier. And I did that with them, and in I think 18 months. So I went from what is that 3,000 times was $150,000 territory, and in 2 years, 18 months, I had $1.5 million. And back then, I don't know what it is today. What they tell people. I'm still an independent business owner. I still think doing $1 million is pretty darn good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That used to be the high, the market. If you've done $1 million,
That was it.
So then I did the same thing and the same thought process in the sporting goods business. And what happens is when you're doing these positive things every day and you're just making incremental steps, you stay rolling with it. And you keep those 4 agreements in your mind. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Don't be talking about people, right? And when you do those things, you get on you get on a roll.
Right.
Things just start happening because the ditty on positive activity, I don't know if Cam gave you anything on positive activity. Positive activity is the program that my wife and I have put together that dovetails both mindful behaviors and solid business development practices. Tried and true, 40 years of it, right?
Okay.
Of that. So you get your mindset right. So the ditty that goes with positive activity it's the practice, right? We say practice because nothing's perfect.
Right.
Now we're into yoga, mindful behaviors, we meditate, whatever. So we get into a place of positivity, and we have the practices that everybody can use that are simple, that are proven, that are research proven, that if you do these practices, the more positive you sells 37% more.
Oh, so okay. So you're saying you personally within become better, and
Yes.
the outcome is better.
Because once you're in positivity, it leads you to open-minded, divergent thinking, solution providing, creativity. So now I think, especially at this stage of my life, and don't get me wrong, once again, nobody bats 1,000, but I'd say 90% of the time I'm in creative mode. I'm a problem. We're solving problems all the time. And we do it, whether it's in our personal life with our special needs son.
Yeah.
And we actually, one of our next book that we're writing is navigating the special needs world with positive activity, because we became part of the solution and not always the problem. Doesn't mean we didn't get into beefs and work hard to get our kid what he needed and all that. We did, but we did it. We also were willing to collaborate and to contribute, right? So now you're in creative mode. So from there, whatever happens after that, whatever you want to do, whether it's business development, whether you want to get better at the piano or the guitar or you need to develop something for one of your kids, it's best to be in creative mode. And then develop your steps, put 90 days into it, right? Nothing's perfect, right? We talked about it's a practice. Plug and play. This isn't working. Let's make an adjust. Let's make adjustments. Let's not throw the baby the baby out with the bathwater, but let's make adjustments. But at the end of 90 days, again, this sounds like full of brush salesman right now, fire and brimstone. I don't mean to sound like that, gang. I'm telling you, this is practical advice. Plus or minus, maybe it's 95, maybe it's 120, but 90 days give you a good measurement of whether or not what you're doing is happening. And if you've done your homework, you're going to have positive results.
So you're talking, this is not a specific thing, lane. You're talking overall, whatever industry you're in, whatever problems you're dealing with in a business or whatever.
Or your personal life.
Personal, whatever. You're saying this can apply no matter what it is basically what, yeah.
A guy said to me, a buddy of mine, he lives in California, but he comes back this way. I don't know where you're at, but we're in the Northeast.
Yeah, and, we're Midwest. Yeah.
Okay, he comes back every summer, and he says to me, he says, Neil, I read your book. I really liked it. A lot of practical. He goes, is that how you did the other stuff too? See ya. Anything that was related to whether it was my daughter was in a scholar, an excellent student and an elite athlete. We had plans for her.
Okay.
How are we going to get her in position? How do we when we did the school thing and where she was getting recruited. She was a lot easier to deal with than, my special needs son, but it was the same process. I recently, so I've been playing and singing my whole life in some form of fashion, playing the piano and singing. My piano player, we will not be going to Carnegie Hall. It's not. It's for personal growth and always be learning. But I used it. So I started with vocal with her, with my current school and teacher, and she said, "Okay, you got to play and sing." I said, "Okay, how do I do that?" So she gave me some instructions on how you're going to accompany yourself in this fashion. You're going to learn the chords up and down the keyboard. You're going to learn them in different positions so you can stay in the middle of the piano. Okay, I can do that. And so what? So what did I do? Put together a 90-day plan, and every day I did the steps. 90 days later,
the results.
I was playing and singing Burt Bacharach's "A House Is Not a Home." And then I did the next recital, I did All of Me, the old standard, right? Now, those are my successes.
Right.
Okay. So let's be real, gang, right? So I decided I wanted to do Fly Me to the Moon because I want to get this cadre of 20 or 30 standards where I can just go and play at an old folks home or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be taking requests from the crowd, but I'll have my set list,
Right.
And so anyways,
Cash App $20, make your request. I'll play a song.
which amazes me. I am in awe of any musician that can. I think it's wonderful. I speak at Berklee School of Music to songwriters on business development.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Guess what they're going to be once they graduate? Salespeople.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And they're artists, and they don't think like that. They don't think like salespeople.
Right.
They should be. I know they a lot of them do supplement their income with working the floor at a restaurant or a bartender or whatever. Get to know. This is your stuff. It's what you need to know. And so I prescribe they all do that. But anyway, so now here we go. Fly Me to the Moon. Well, I just played it and played it and played it and played it and played it to death. It didn't do my process though. Right? Mm-hmm. So, which included, I didn't tell what the process, so included scales. And nobody wants to do scales, but finger exercises.
Yeah.
And then it was chords, getting familiarizing myself with the chords and all that. Then it was, in a couple of different fashions. So a couple of exercises in that. And then it was 3 vocal exercises. And then I practiced the songs. Well, all I did was practice the song and over and over and over. So I was really on edge about it. And although I played it for the HVAC guy when he was here. Him and his I played it for my cleaning lady. I played and sang it. It was flawless. I mean, but I'm in my own piano, and it's not. I'm not on a grand piano, which has got a different action than my keyboard, and I'm not in front of 200 people.
Right, but you got it. You nailed it.
Here's the deal. Here's what happened. So I got, and I was never completely confident. Right, I kept on asking questions. I was calling an old piano teacher of mine. Hey, Rick, what should I do with this? I said, I'm halfway. I know the music. I'm this close to just leaving it at home and just playing from memory. And he says, you should probably nail it. You should probably have it. Okay. Then I go to his son, who's a much better player, and he's played for me, in events that I've had. And I said, Ricky, what do you think? He goes, all right, put the chord symbols up here and just fly with that. Then I'm saying to myself, okay, but what about my solo? I got to see the melody. I'm not singing anymore. I'm just now you play the melody. Okay. I know what I'll do. I'll highlight the chord. So now I had the whole thing. Now, every day when we have a performance, I text my teacher, and I always say game day. Right? But I didn't do it because I didn't feel it. And
you weren't ready for the game, huh?
Yep. And I was this close to saying, just have Jed play it for me. It was the piano player of the night. And I didn't. When I got to the solo, it was 45 of the longest seconds of my life. Because I was lost. Right? I wasn't anxious. I wasn't this, I wasn't that, but I never felt completely right. And I'm convinced it's because I aborted my own process. And so I want, but what I did do, and this is what I know to be true, what everybody will tell you, do not leave the stage. Finish the song. So what I did was, when I got lost, finally I just said, okay, I sang a cappella, and then and then the crowd knew I was in trouble.
Right.
They got into it with me. So I got support from the crowd. And then I looked back up at the music. I saw where I needed to be, and I brought it home.
Okay.
So in the end, I had victory, but I also knew that because I didn't listen to my own thought, my own way, and that happens all. I mean, one of the things, and I don't know you, Nick, why you're doing the podcast and all that, but I do all this stuff so I remember to do it myself.
Right.
Yeah?
Yes.
I wrote the book because I got to remember to do all that stuff. So now I talk about it all. Now I remember it now, and I enjoy it. This call the other day, I've known this guy for years and whatnot, and I've been a customer of theirs and whatnot. Well, I said, hey, Vince, we'll put something together. We had this great. It was just this, even at this stage in my life, it was like exhilarating to say, okay, I don't know where this goes. I don't know if it's $1 million client. I don't know if it's a $10,000 client. I know it's big if I can do what I know I can do with them. But that's the thrill of it for me now. It's still just the process. I enjoy. Okay, now I sent them off this thing. I've got samples coming. I've ordered special vests for him and the owner. And well, they're all owners now. It's a private employee-owned company now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're gonna every one of those meetings is gonna be wow, this is, and I know it's gonna be that way because I've been doing this so long. So yeah.
Well, I think that's what's been so interesting to me is the different routes that have been taken to get to people that on this side in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they end up finding success. But the maze that has been traveled to get there by so many different people, You know what I mean? And then look
Yeah.
back and go, yep, hard work. That's the advice. Hard work. Don't quit. Don't give up. Accept no. When you're down, if you stay down, you'll be down. I mean, you have to be able to get tapped up. You have to be able to, it's just part of the game. Yes, yes, yes,
Discovered
yes.
that.
Well, so I will say I did order. I got your book coming. It didn't come yet. I wanted to be able to read it before I got on the phone with you, but I guess it's going to show up sometime today. What I did is I ordered 5 copies of it because I'm going to give it out to 4 of the people whenever this airs and people are watching this, I'm going to give 4 of you guys that maybe hit me up and say, let me have. Matter of fact, the first 4 people that message me and say, I want to have that book, I'm going to give you this book. So there's
And
something.
I'll throw in a half-hour conversation when they're done.
Bam. There you go. That's
Okay.
beautiful. Well, so, and I think that's the value is, and it's so strange. And I'll only talk about this for a second, but I had a guy come in yesterday. He's a financial advisor, really successful guy. And what he did for, man, I want to say 10, 12 years, he was a bartender. What made him stop bartending is he said, the only reason I quit is because I felt like there was maybe a group that said, if you want to be taken more serious, you can't have the people that you're helping invest their money come see you behind the bar at night. But the relationships that he developed from being the guy behind the bar is what made him so successful. So it was like I really just graduated, and I don't even know if he pays credit to how he learned everything that he did. So I had told him you were coming in the name of your book, and he was just like, I'll be damned. Like, I'll be damned. It was one of those like, huh. Because that was it, is he worked at a higher end, place that it was, people coming in and, a lot of investors and bankers and everything after hours. And yeah, at the end of the day, he got a really good education and made really good tips and all that good stuff for, like I said, better part of 10 years, to where it started off as, bar backing and washing dishes, turning into really good personality, turning into a hell of a living.
You're talking my language. Exactly my path. I washed dishes. I made sandwiches.
Yeah.
I busboyed. Then I bar back. And this is a funny one, because this is at the time when you read the first couple of chapters, you'll get the gist. Neil had a little tough sledding to get started, and that was that's a lot of the mentorships I do is like with young guys, and I do those young guy, and it's a friend of mine's kid. I don't charge him anything. I talk to him.
Right.
We just talk about simple things and simple practices. And I'm working on one. Working with a kid now, a little out over my skis because he's got some other issues going on. But I'm still peppering him. I'm even trying to give him ideas to solve those problems. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll nod his head reading that or listening to it if he ever reads it. Your financial guy. But yeah. Here's the thing. So I was kind of floundering. I was like, when I was doing the bar backing, I was probably 17, 18. And I had already flunked out and so, by the way, just so we all know, Neil flunked out of 2 community colleges. Okay. So
that seems like a consistent too. I don't know why college does not resonate with success in my world with people. I don't know.
But interestingly enough, I knew when I finally realized. So anyway, so this will take a quick path on this. So the reason why I wanted to be a bartender, the only reason why. Want to take a guess?
Oh, I don't want to shoot you that direction, man. Just go ahead.
It looked cool.
Oh, I was going to say, was it a pretty good curl? Was it Tom Cruise and the cocktails?
I was way before Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah. Right.
And as a matter of fact, I mentioned that that was the only time you used to see things like that with the throwing of this, that was the old Fridays, way back. That was their thing, with throwing the glasses and catching them.
Yeah.
The places I worked were so busy, you couldn't do any of those shenanigans.
Okay.
You had to be quick and that, that was one of my physical attributes. I have very quick hands, or I had them anyway. It's still pretty quick, but
Right.
Everybody loses a step. But anyway, so I go. So now I'm kind of, my self-esteem is low and whatnot, and I go and I determine I'm getting a bar job. So
boost the ego a little bit, be cooler, and
and it was like a little bit of a goal. I mean, I had not been a great goal setter at the time. I had not, I mean, literally in May of my senior year, I went to my mother and say, is there something I should be doing next year? I mean, it's not like it is today.
Right.
I was talking about the plans we have for our children. And,
right.
People now, it's like DNA right up until, I saw a meme the other day. Someone said, the first 30 years of your kids is the toughest. So now I get this job. I got a goal. I got something, right? And now it's like, okay, what is this going to be all about? So, and then I poured a drink and I gave it to this. I think it was a guy. I forget exactly off the top of my head. You'll read it in the book. I think it was a woman, and it was a Sea Breeze, which was vodka, grapefruit, and a splash of cranberry, so a little pinkish, a little lime. She took a sip out of it and she goes, "Wow, that's really good." And I went, that felt kind of good. Maybe I've got something here, right? Because I already had that, feeling like, okay, where am I going? How, and then is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? I mean, it's a noble position and all that, but I knew it wasn't going to be for me when I finally figured it out. And then people would say, if you're into personal skills and all that, you should go into sales. Okay. But now I still got to get that degree, right? At least in my head, I got to, because even back then, even a sales job, like if you wanted to, I'm sure there's a lot of sales jobs you can still get without a degree, but you're probably selling on commission only and all that.
Right,
so not a lot of safety nets. So yes, but I have to get this degree. So what do? Go to my third community college. What do they say about the third time?
It's a charm, babe.
So I kind of developed my own so this is where the process in me started, right? And what I did was I developed a little bit process in my head. I don't know if you guys or your listeners know this, but the teachers, the professors, they like you to show up.
Yeah, that's
okay. Show up. So it's show up, ask questions, participate,
be a part of the program,
work, go to the extra hours, do the extra credit, boom, boom, boom. So now you're kind of sounds like sales, doesn't it? Right. So, and believe me, gang, I wasn't consciously doing this. I was just trying to survive. And
you needed to get through this third time around
and feel better about. But here's where I started my whole, and again, I didn't develop this, but I mean, you hear it all the time. That's where I developed my own inner monologue. That one step every day, a little better than the next.
Right.
So I didn't try to take it all on at once. What am I going to do? What am I going to? No, I just did. And so I wound up a 3.85 student. Now, okay, so this is one semester, but I got there.
Yeah.
But I graduated on Dean's List,
Okay.
So, I'm not as smart as my kids or my wife in terms of book smart, but I found my way through it, and I got to enjoy it, which was important. So, and as far as skills, learning to be a marketer or a salesperson, there was none. So to me, this book and whatnot, and I have a guidebook that goes with it that really sets up. The first question in every that associated with every chapter is, how would you feel if that's if when you go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever, don't you like somebody to greet you? So, would you rather have them with their head in the phone or saying, "Good morning, how are you? What can I do for you?" The simple greeting. So So yeah, so that's how it all kind of jived together. And the aha moment for that was when I was up. My daughter was being honored as a one of the 30 under 30 to watch with the chamber. You know how they've got an award for everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, the guy who brought Five Guys Burgers to it actually was right on this campus. There's a function hall and all that. So the golf club and all that. So the guy who was the keynote speaker was the guy who brought Five Guys Burgers to New Hampshire,
Okay.
and he was a nuts and bolts guy. You know, he's in the burger business,
Right.
right? He's not going to speak like he's from Harvard. I
Right.
graduated. You hear my story. I graduated from what I call the Harvard of state schools. When I did finish up in a four-year degree at Salem State College. Then now it's university.
Right.
I
Right.
joke about it. That's the Harvard of state schools. But anyway, so he's just talking, and he gets on to the pre-meal portion of the kind of the everybody together, get a meeting together. Here's what we did last year. Here's the specials. That's what happens at a restaurant or whatnot. What's the wine? What's the this? What's
Right.
86, which is out. So, and then there's usually some sort of a rah-rah speech, like, let's have a great night tonight. Let's all make some money. Let's treat our customers, whatever it is.
Yeah.
His was this. We're not in the burger business. We're not in the fry business. We're not in the soda business. We're not in the shake business. We're in the hospitality business.
Bam.
And I went just like this. And I looked at my wife, and a point of context here. We met when I worked at a place called Tia's in Boston. She was a food server, and I was a bartender. And I looked at her and I said, I've never left the bar. I've been bartending on the road for 30 plus years. That's what it just hit. And then I did some research on how other people are doing hospitality things to enhance their business. And then I had these two chapters of kind of memoir stuff that I pieced that together. And I kind of tell my story in there. It's not one of extreme struggle, gang. I'm not gonna, but it was a confusing time, for me. You have that 13-year-old time where everything's changing, and then you've got that time where you got to go out in the real world, and maybe you're not really prepared for it, or you're not a great student, or you don't know how you learn, which is really what wound up being, I believe, my issue. Whether it would be some undiagnosed whatever. Which probably would get help at this stage in this day and age.
Right.
But I had to learn how I learn.
Right.
On my own.
Yeah.
There was nobody that told me. It was, oh, Neil, this is the path for you. It's like, everybody had ideas, but I was like, okay, but how do I do that? I just discovered that.
You said, heck, I've been non-alcoholic bartending for my whole life, huh?
Yeah.
That's actually, yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, that's a genius way to look at what's going on. Everything's a hospitality business if you do it right.
Well, that's it, and that was my thing. That's kind of the last chapter in the book is called Hospitality Happiness. So what I say that is, and the last chapter was written when Lori, my wife, and I were visiting my mother-in-law, who we're going to visit next week, at the Villages in Florida. And the Villages are I think it's a very cool place. And there's all sorts of, stuff they say about the Villages. I mean, I never saw any of it. I just think it's a great place. There's no ocean, but other than that, if you want this, like 3,500 clubs, there's music 365 nights a year.
Oh.
360 for free. You just go down. I mean, if you want to have a drink, you got to pay for your drink, but you can stand out in the open air, and it's just great. But there's not. I wouldn't call the cuisine top notch. There's one place in one of the villages called the Chop House, which we spent a lot of time in because we're very conscious about what we eat, and I don't. We're not big fried. It's not that I don't eat. I won't eat a fried something or other. I will. I just don't make a practice of it, right?
It's not a terrible idea.
Eat red meat. I just don't make a practice of it. I'm not searching out the next fillet I've got to have, right?
Right.
So we go to the Chop House, and we're with my mother-in-law at the time. She was probably 80. She's 89. Going to be 90 in September, and So we go in, we sit. You know, if you've ever done this, if you've got three of you, or maybe even four, and you get the corner of the bar, and you got you and your wife here, and your friend and his wife there.
Yeah, yeah.
You got that
Sit
little
up the
table,
corner.
and
Yeah.
you're being entertained. You got them. So the bartenders and whatnot were real entertaining. They were really good guys, joking with my mother-in-law about, hey, I need to check your ID. Simple.
Yeah.
Just yuck, fun. And, also very helpful with the menu. Again, because I don't eat a lot of red meat, I went to the other white meat. I will get a pork chop.
Okay.
So I said, I think I'm going to get a pork chop. And he goes, just like this. He points to this one. He goes, I looked at him and says, is that the one? He goes, that's the one. Okay, I'll have that. Right. So anyways, I wrote the last chapter the next day, which is the symbiotic relationship that you develop with a server or a salesperson or business owner or whatever it is, where you, the customer, is digging what they're doing because they're serving you well in whatever it is they're doing for you. And they're digging you because you're respecting them, you're giving them business, and you're trusting them, you're becoming you think of them as a trusted advisor. And it's like this kumbaya thing that happens.
This is true.
We have in this business, so we've been in the swag business for almost 28 years. We have customers that have been with us 28 years.
Oh, that's proof in the pudding right there.
It's rare we lose a client because we underserved them or didn't do something right or didn't make something right. If something went wrong,
that's awesome, man.
It just doesn't happen. We will always make it right, even if it comes out of our pocket. We just do.
Oh man, that's great, Neil. So if listeners other than obviously, there's going to be a few of them get a chance to get a book that you wrote for nothing. If someone wanted to, I don't know, get in touch with or look to see what you do, what you've done, what you're on, how do they go about? Is there a website that they can look up, or why don't you shout that out real quick? Because I know for sure there's going to be at least a lot of people I know personally that are going to be going, wait, who is this guy again? And how do we look up more of what he's talking about? If you could share a little bit, and I'll make sure I also put links that I release also, but I would like for them to hear from you.
So
find out what you're doing. And real quick, do you read in the audio book? Are you the voice in?
Okay.
Are you the narrator?
The next book I write, I will be.
Okay.
Or my wife and I will be. One of us will do the audio.
I just seen audiobook was an option, and I was like, I might end up actually having someone read it to me.
And by the way, we will completely self-publish this.
Okay.
We won't use any type of publisher at all. We're just going to write it. We're going to edit it. Because I did everything. We did everything. My wife and I did everything for this book. The publisher had no ideas.
Oh.
It's like, I sent them an idea on the cover. Yeah, it looks great. I'm sorry. What?
Oh, so they were just
I've been in the art business of some way, shape, or form for 30 some odd years. Nothing ever is right in the first go. It's some of the tweaks and whatnot. So the cover that you will see, when you get it, we designed it. The colors, this. Anyways, this is the most important. Anyway, so we
that's
don't
it,
need
right?
it. That's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got the briefcase, you've got the beer, you got the money.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
Right?
Oh, and you're saying you came up with it. They said, "Yep, looks good." You're like, "Wait a minute,
tell
me something."
That wasn't even the one. It was the one before they said was good, and we didn't like it. We said, "Well, hold on, let's do our own research." So what we did is we went to Amazon and looked at all the business books and got colors and whatnot. We're not unfamiliar with the creative process, so we were able to do that. So, anyway, long story short, I'm going to do it all. We're going to do it all ourselves. Go right to Amazon. Get the ISBN number so we can go to the distributors, and we're just going to do it. And that'll save, number one, a whole lot of time, and number two, a whole lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Which is because anybody thinking about writing a book out there, unless you're you're some famous person, you're not going to, your money's not, your money, the book is your calling card.
Right.
It gets you on a podcast, it gets you a speaking gig. Someone wants to do, for us, someone wants to do promotional work with us because we are thought leaders.
Right.
So anyways, best place to look at what we do is positiveactivity.net.
Positiveactivity.net.
And you'll see all of our speaker bios are on there, our philosophy. You can sign up for our blog posts, are very practical. Again, they're all practical, simple things. I mean, I can't create anything that's, all that complicated. I'm just not that complicated. So
right.
Everything that I do, when you read the book, the book we read to write the book is a book called On Writing Well. And what Howard Zisser says, if you can say it in 10 words, don't try to stretch it to 20. Don't try to challenge your reader with some funky word. Speak in plain language. And that's what we did. And that's how I talk. For me to come up with some fancy word to describe what I'm trying to say would just not be me.
No, I think that's the attractive, and I think that's the attractive, appealing part is a lot of people get it in their head that you have to be this, we say be the smartest one in the room. That doesn't mean have the biggest vocabulary, talk above everyone.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's to be the one that people remember by being kind, by being a good listener. That is the valuable trait, not by being the cocky one who is smarter than everyone on their own accord. That's not even valuable. So
you're probably OBing people too, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's great, but you should have seen what we did.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The one-upper. Yeah. Hey,
that's the place you can find us. My wife is on there 12. She's a brilliant speaker, and she really does a wonderful job with the whole getting your mind shit. I can do it, but we do it together. So I do my part, she does her part most of the time. Sometimes we have to deliver it on our own. I go to Berkeley on my own, so smaller places like that. But she is marvelous. And Liz, I mean, I am 70% of what she is in terms of how she practices what she preaches in terms of mindset. But
sounds like you got someone to keep you on track then. That's exactly what you need.
She's everything to me. So
that's great. Well, hey, Neil, I sure appreciate you taking the time to join me. It was great to get to know you a little bit here. And hey, you guys heard him. He's going to give someone a little bit of his time. So you reach out and tell me that you need one of these books, and I'm going to get you one. I'm probably going to listen to whoever reads the audiobook, but I'm also going to have a copy of it here in my collection.
I didn't finish.
Oh yeah, let's hear that. Yeah.
They wouldn't let me do
what?
I said, well, it's a certain way. I said, listen to my vocal. I'm a baritone, right? I can do this. And oh, by the way, it's in the Boston area. They're gonna want a little bro.
Yeah.
Right. So
have you heard who? Now
I picked out the guy to do it.
Oh, okay. I was saying now I got to hear this guy.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. I mean, but it's not me. And I had to go by, this Boston area locations there that he can't say right.
Oh,
he just didn't have the.
He didn't have it.
Yeah. So I had to go through, listen to them all, and change them up and send them to him. You got to redo all these. And I wasn't looking for the guy to have a Boston accent because nothing's worse than somebody trying to have a Boston accent.
Right.
And believe it or not, it's not. You may not believe this, given you're from the Midwest. This is not even close to a full-on Boston accent.
I get it. You got a little. You definitely got something there.
Oh, there's something there, but you want to get down to Southie, pal, bro, dude. I tell you what, you're gonna hear some accents.
I like it. All hey, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, man. Yeah. Well, I'll reach out if whenever these people reach out for a book. If someone wants to take you up on these, on maybe having you share a little bit of insight with them, I'll make sure I follow up with you. Thank you for your time. You have a great weekend, man.
Thanks,
and,
Nick. You too, pal.
Yep.
Great deal.
Yep. All right. Take care, man. Everybody from Beyond Business, thanks for following, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.